When the forces of 11th century history are unleashed upon Half-Wyner Manor, the fate of England is at the mercy of two sisters who take matters into their own hands, forging their own destiny to triumph over evil. Hello and welcome to Liam's Live Sim. I'm your host Liam, aka Himbar, and today I'll be doing a spoiler-free review of Lynn Abbey's Unicorn and Dragon. Unicorn and Dragon is a 1987 novel by Lynn Abbey. It is book one of a duology with some caveats. It is beautifully illustrated by Robert Gould as well, who I knew from illustrating some of the Elric books, for those curious. The story takes place in Wessex in 1065. Edward the Confessor is dying, and England's enemies gather, ready to pounce. Of course, this is shortly before the historic Norman Conquest, which followed in the next year. The story starts following a young knight, seemingly loyal to William the Bastard, Duke of Normandy. He and his companions are to get a message to Pevensey, but poor tidings befall thrice, and an injured Stephen makes his way toward the Saxon manor of Half-Wyner, or something like that. There are two sisters. Alison is described as blonde and impulsive, and Will Decent is as dark-haired and cunning. These young women's personalities are so vivid, another example of Abbey's realistic character work. Doesn't mean they're very likable at times, though. I was impressed, though, how gripping the first chapter was, and I swept away to a time and place far away on a wintry night. Beyond places like Half-Wyner being fictional, there is also magic, making this historical fantasy. This magic is not too common, as Christianity frowns upon it. They learn while making clothes and such that a historically accurate role for Anglo-Saxon women, that I'm glad Abbey got right. They kind of learn about this magic, though, from this guiding character. It's really only Alison who has this talent, or this latent magical ability, and it involves reading minds. And we learn very early on, if it isn't immediately evident, that these two are likely not sisters by blood, since they don't look anything alike for that matter. There are politics aplenty, which I think some knowledge of previously would help, but it isn't hard to follow. Godfrey, the girl's father, is a shire reeve, but we call him a sheriff today. He is short of temper and, he does, and kind of follows in Egernal, their aunt's footsteps as well. Those two kind of rule the household. Thorkel joins these two as secondary characters. He is described as a Viking from Northumbria, and I believe in charge of their defenses. Beyond his sister's personal struggles, the young Stephen in smoke on the horizon portend bandits, and maybe one supported by an earl. And in a tower is Ambrose, one with great arcane power and essentially the sorcerer in this story. There is reference to the Languedoc, which is a little out of place since Old French and Old Occitan at this point would likely have been considered Latin or called something like Romance. Dialects would have been recognized as such, of course, but probably not here. Events unfold fluidly at the whim of fate, and the characters, as always, Abbey's characters are insanely realistic and not shaped as part of any story at all. They're just characters, that are part of a world. They're vivid, and many will likely dislike them, I think, for their faults. The world is revealed through them, such as clothing and hierarchy, and also ideas of religion. Christianity plays a role, of course, but Cernunnos and Ceridwen are mentioned too. This with other things give off a new age witchcraft vibe at times, which I wasn't a huge fan of. It's a world of anxiety and change on the eve of devastation. This largely makes me feel for the characters, though I connected with these less than those in, for example, Abbey's Wall and Sword novels, which I really enjoy. There is one sequel titled Conquest. I've also seen it titled The Green Man. Apparently it ends quite similarly this one, with more story to be told. Because 3 more volumes were planned but never published, I'm not sure if they were ever written. I kind of doubt it. I did learn that Abbey does not hold the copyright to these books, so it's sadly out of her hands. They likely never will happen. And so kind of continue that at your own pace. Beware. The series is a duology, sure, but it technically was not supposed to be a duology, and so it's technically unfinished and likely never will be finished. But overall, I enjoyed my time. I'm a fan of Abbey, of course. I'm like one of her few supporters, it seems like. But let me know if you've read these or are interested. I'll catch you next time.